Good evening, everybody. I'm calling the July 27, 2026 City Council meeting to order. Time is 6:57. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our City Council clerk is home feeling under the weather, so we're going to be divvying up her duties a little bit, so I will conduct the roll call. Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite.
Here.
Councilman Peter Rivera.
Here.
Councilman Sean Ronan.
Here.
Councilwoman Ann Heffernan.
Councilwoman Ann Heffernan, 1st District, present.
Councilwoman Nancy Tagliatella.
Councilwoman Nancy Tagliatella, 2nd District, present.
Councilman Sarah Acbarelli is absent. Councilman Gary Donovan.
Councilman Gary Donovan, 4th District, present.
Councilman Edward McMillan.
Councilman Edward McMillan, 5th District, present.
Councilwoman Dawn Callahan is absent. Councilwoman Catherine Tucker is absent. Councilman David Beaton.
Councilman David Beaton, 9th District, present.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani.
Ron Quagliani, 10th District, present.
And Chairman Christopher Vargo, 8th District, present. Okay, first items of business are 2 public hearings under the Committee on Finance. Acting Chairman Quagliani.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have a public hearing regarding Communication F from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda from David Taylor, Acting Director of Finance, requesting consideration and action on an ordinance amending the FY 2024-2025 capital budget. This is a specific topic for this hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the council on this matter? For a second time, anyone from the public like to address the council on this matter? For a third time, anyone from the public like to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, the public hearing is closed at 6:59 p.m. And Mr. Chairman, it's 6:59 p.m. Your Finance Committee is holding a public hearing regarding Communication G from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda from David Taylor, Acting Director of Finance, requesting consideration and action on the approval of an ordinance allowing for the issuance of bonds in the amount of $12,477,252 and to fund certain projects from the FY 2024-2025 capital budget. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the council regarding this matter? For a second time, anyone from the public like to address the council on this matter? And for the third and final time, anyone from the public like to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, the public hearing is closed at 7 o'clock p.m.
Thank you, Councilman Quagliani. Time is 7 o'clock, and we will enter public session. I'd like to remind everybody that we do have a fairly large agenda this evening. It's the only meeting in this month, so I am going to ask that everybody confine their comments to the 3 minutes. And please remember that this is not a back and forth between the speaker and the council. This is an opportunity for you to address the council and for us to take notes, and then we can follow up with you later, either directly or through a city department. Would anybody from the public like to address the city council? Sir? And as another reminder, please state your name and your address for the record and make sure that the light on the microphone is green.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, I'm Joe Crocco, and I live at 134 Ames Drive. First, I'd like to thank the West Haven City Council and the Honorable Mayor Boer for the opportunity to tell you about sudden flooding that occurred last Tuesday, July 20th at 134 Ames Drive and affected not only that home, but other homes in the area. My goal tonight is just to make you aware of the problem, which you may already be, and hope you can help. To keep it brief, at the height of the storm last Tuesday, floodwaters in the back of my yard were 3.5 feet high, and they eventually decreased as they approached toward the house to a lower level. But still, they encompassed 90% of the backyard. They flooded out a garden building, which we had our lawnmower and snowblower in there, of course, water and gasoline and those vehicles. Fortunately, we were kind of aware of this, so we raised those items up high enough that they weren't impacted. And the good news for us at the house, there was no water incursion into the house, although we were highly prepared to mitigate any of that stuff. Also, I was also fortunate that the West Shore Fire Department arrived to pump out the area and a neighbor's personal drain system also helped. And thanks to West Shore Fire for their help and that neighbor in particular. Well, where did all that water come from aside from the heavy rain? The floodwaters came through Contact Drive Park, okay? Breached a berm installed by the town roughly about 2 years ago by Ivy, okay? Obviously, that did not help. It was inadequate to handle this volume of water. Tracing the water flows back to the drains, a culvert full of weeds and debris at Contact Drive in Anawan. And there's huge city drains there, but you can't get to them because they're clogged. They're completely, and so is the culvert at the Seth Haley School. My point there is, if this was maintained regularly and properly, and they tell me it's Public Works, not Education, that handles this. And if the education guys go in the hole, somebody files a grievance and Public Works gets very upset. So, but that was one of the problems. The other is Baldwin Street doesn't have any storm drains at all. When they put the road in there, it pitches into the park, which was years ago a swamp. Okay, so it was natural drainage. Who cared? Alligators, we're not Florida, but there's frogs and all that cool. And you get ice in the winter. Kids can play ice hockey. But that's what happened, and that made matters worse. So the property behind it, behind the berm, became like a moat, and it just overflowed everything. It was just absolutely crazy. So the only thing that makes me concerned is the weather forecasts predict really heavy rain for tomorrow, depending on where you look. NBC Connecticut has really bad stuff. Channel 8 has bad stuff, but not as bad as the other guys. So I hope we don't have a reoccurrence. We're trying to be as best prepared as possible. And I just hope you all can help. And thank you very much for your listening to this.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else from the public like to address the City Council?
Good evening. My name is Tara DL, and I currently reside at 126 Ames Drive. I'm here tonight because I'm asking the city to address the drainage issues in my neighborhood. Every time we experience a heavy storm, my property floods. The water doesn't just puddle, it fills my entire backyard and rises almost halfway up my 8-foot fence. I don't know if you wanted to pass it around, I do have a picture of what it looks like. So it's devastating to watch and incredibly stressful to live through. I'm not located in a flood zone, so I continue to experience this flooding. It causes the significant damage, and I don't have flood insurance to cover it. So after my storm, not this storm, but the storm before that one, my basement flooded. My homeowner's insurance didn't cover the damages, and it was thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket costs. So I'm a teacher, and as a teacher, I feel like I should be enjoying my summer break, spending time with my family, recharging, and preparing for another school year. But instead, every time rain is in the forecast, I find myself worrying, watching the weather, and wondering if the next storm will flood my backyard and basement again. I know I'm not the only resident experiencing these issues, and I respectfully ask the city to make improvements to our drainage systems as a priority. No homeowner should have to live with the constant fear that every heavy rain will bring thousands of dollars of damage. I'm asking you to investigate this problem, develop a long-term solution, and take action before another major storm causes even more damage. So thank you for your time and for considering my concerns and of the residents who are affected by this ongoing issue.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else from the public like to address the City Council? Sir?
First of all, thank you for being here tonight. My name is Tom McCarthy. I live at 82 Ames Drive. I live up the street from these people. I've helped them clean out the basement many of times. And one thing I noticed when the West Shore Fire Department was at the house down the street from us, they were running pumps and it seemed to drain the yards fairly quickly. Is there any easements going through any property over there that can tie into the sewer system or the drainage system, whatever, to help drain the yards a little bit faster? Obviously, like Tara just said, we're running pumps in our basement, we're running fans, dehumidifiers, all this stuff. It's getting old, and I know city's under stress with budget and whatever. Excuse me. If there's some way to tie into the system to help carry that water away, that would be greatly appreciated. So, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else from the public like to address the city council? For a second time, would anyone from the public like to address the city council?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Rich Hebert. I live at 166 Bloom Street. I'd just like to make a comment because hearing these folks complain about the water, we also have, every time we have a heavy storm, that the beaches get washed away. And it seems that after all these years, we would have a better system of addressing the water problem. One of the suggestions I would like to make is put a sluice or a concrete spillway at those points where all that water concentrates. It seems like it's the same spot every time. And then what do? We have to go out and replace the sand. And it costs us a lot of money. So, just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hebert. Anyone else from the public like to address the city council?
Hello, thank you for being here. My name is Tamara Philpott. I live at 557 Savin Ave. I came today because the city has removed 2 benches that were on the West Haven Green. There's one that was previously across from 7-Eleven Savin Ave, and there's one that was in front of the church playground. I don't know what the circumstances were, but I often help people who live at 7-Eleven Savin Ave. We have a lot of elders in that building, people with mobility issues who like to enjoy the events on the green, but they don't have the mobility to get as far into the green, and they used to rely on the bench that was straight across the street from their building. And also people coming out from church like to use the benches that were in front of what used to be, well, what's the playground now. So I'm just asking the city to consider replacing those 2 benches on the green for our elderly residents and those who have mobility issues. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address the city council? For a second time, would anyone from the public like to address the city council? Third and final time, would anyone from the public like to address the city council? Seeing none, time is 7:10. Public session's closed. Okay, before we get into this evening's business, I do have a few housekeeping items. Number one is we are still tinkering with the agenda, trying to make these meetings a little bit more efficient. So to that end, may I have a motion to exercise Rule 6.1 of our Rules of Governing the City Council to suspend Rule 4.11, the order of business?
Motion.
I have a motion from Councilman McMillan. Do I have a second? Second from Councilwoman Tagliatella. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. For this evening's meetings, I am appointing Councilman Quagliani as the acting chair of the Finance Committee, and I am appointing Councilwoman Nancy Tagliatella as the acting chair of the Health and Wellness Committee. And I would like to entertain a motion to amend this evening's agenda to remove the approval of the minutes for July 16, 2026, because that's actually for the Charter Revision Commission and not this body. I have a motion from Councilman Quagliani and a second from Councilman Beaton. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the May 19, 2026 special meeting, the May 20, 2026 special meeting, the May 21, 2026 special meeting, May 27, 2026 special meeting, May 28, 2026 special meeting, June 22nd, 2026 regular meeting, June 23rd, 2026 special meeting, and June 24, 2026 special meeting.
Motion.
I have a motion from Councilman McMillan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Donovan. Any discussion? Councilman Garthwaite.
I have to abstain from 2 of those meetings. How do we?
Okay.
Yeah.
Which ones do you have to abstain from?
I have to abstain from May 27th and June 23rd.
Councilman Heffernan, which ones do you have to abstain from? Okay, so we're going to have to do this separately. That's okay.
We shan't.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes of May 19, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman McMillan and Donovan, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion, one abstention. Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve May 20, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Councilman McMillan, second from Councilman Quagliani. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of May 2021? I'm sorry, what? One abstention for the May 20th. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of May 21, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Motion from Councilman McMillan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Heffernan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. May I have a motion to accept May 27, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Councilman
Second.
McMillan. Second from Councilman Donovan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. Motion carries. May I have a motion to accept May 28, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Councilman McMillan, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Heffernan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve June 22nd, 2026 regular meeting? Motion from Councilwoman Heffernan. Do I have a
Second.
second? Second from McMillan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any?
Excuse me, that was Tagliatelle.
I'm sorry. Second from Councilman Tagliatella. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. May I have a motion for the June 23rd, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Motion from Councilman McMillan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Donovan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
2 abstentions. Motion carries. Last but not least, may I have a motion to approve June 24, 2026 special meeting?
Motion.
Motion from Councilman
Second.
McMillan. Second from Donovan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 1 abstention. Motion carries. All right, I'm exhausted. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilman Beaton to read the communications into the record.
Communications A for Christopher J. Mercer, founder and executive director of Family First Initiative, requesting consideration and action on the reimbursement of two $50 permit fees paid to the building department and zoning department. Refer to the Committee on Finance. Communications B from Mayor Durandabor, requesting consideration and action on the appointment of Rick Spryer, 53 Magnolia Avenue, West Haven, Connecticut, as a director to the Greater New Haven Transit District Board of Directors. Mr. Spryer will be replacing Kathy Kroslak. His term will become effective immediately and will expire on July 31st, 2028. Referred to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication C from Mayor Durandabor, requesting consideration and action on the reappointment of Carol Porto, 335 Captain Thomas Boulevard, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Ms. Porto reappointment will become effective immediately and expire on January 31st, 2031. Referred to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication D from Mayor Durandabor, requesting consideration and action on the reappointment of Jason Michael DiLorenzo, 29 3rd Avenue, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Energy Commission. Mr. DiLorenzo reappointment will become effective immediately and expire on February 25th, 2028. Referred to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication E from Mayor Durandabor, requesting consideration and action on the reappointment of William Joseph Kane, 9 Lucy Ave, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Inland Wetlands Agency. Mr. Kane's reappointment will become effective immediately and expire on July 31st, 2031. Referred to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication F from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration and action on the reappointment of Andrew H. Weinstein, 20 Platt Avenue, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Economic Development Commission. Mr. Weinstein's reappointment will become effective immediately and expire on January 31st, 2031. Refer to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication G from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration and action on the reappointment of Troy T. Tappan, 64 Josephine Ave, West Haven, Connecticut, to the West Haven Allentown Fire Commission. Mr. Tappan's reappointment will become effective immediately and expire on June 30th, 2031. Refer to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication H from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration and action on a resolution requiring all City of West Haven departments to donate eligible surplus food to local agencies assisting residents experiencing food insecurities and establishing compliance with the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act, referred to the Committee on Health and Wellness. Communication I from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration and action on a resolution approving a lease agreement with the Al Schruler Building, LLC, for the exclusive use of 10 parking spaces within the parking lot located at 9 Curtis Place, referred to the Committee on Public Lands. Communications J from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration action on an amendment to Chapter 154, Noise of the Code of the City of West Haven, referred to the Committee on Legislative Matters. Communication L from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration and action on the reappointment of Deborah A. Johnson, 246 Peck Avenue, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Senior Citizens Commission. Ms. Johnson's reappointment will become effective immediately and expire on May 31st, 2031, referred to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Communication M from Mayor Dorinda Boer, requesting consideration and action on an ordinance amending Chapter 80, Bicycles, Electronic Personnel Assistive Mobility Devices, Electronic Propulsion Vehicles, and Golf Carts of the Code of the City of West Haven, referred to the Committee on Legislative Matters. Communications F from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda from David Taylor, Acting Director of Finance, requesting consideration action on ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 capital budget, referred to the Committee on Finance. And Communications G from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda from David Taylor, Acting Director of Finance, requesting consideration and action on the approval of an ordinance allowing the issuance of bonds in the amount of $12,477,252 to fund certain projects from the fiscal year 2024-2025 capital budget, referred to the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Councilman Beaton. Excellent job. Just for the record, there is a Communication K on our agenda. Some additional work needed to be done on this ordinance. It's a proposed ordinance regarding short-term rentals, but we learned that some additional work needs to be done, and it was after all the communications were stamped. So that was pulled, and that's why we didn't renumerate everything. So that's why you'll see removed on our agenda. Okay, at this time, we will enter the business of the standing committees. First up is going to be the Committee on Finance, Acting Chairman Quagliani.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee is now in session at 7:21 p.m. Members present are Councilman Donovan, Councilwoman Garthwaite, and myself, Councilman Quagliani, acting as chair. Absent this evening are Councilwoman Tucker and Councilwoman Akbarali. Before us, we have our first order of business regarding the federal single audit and state audit of the City of West Haven for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. I'd ask the Acting Finance Director, Mr. Taylor, to come up and give us a synopsis of the high points of that.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, David.
If you have your audits there with you, the first one is the federal single audit, state audit. The first thing I want to say is that the auditor's opinion is what we would term a clean opinion, which is what we all strive for. So it's a good opinion for us. You'll notice on the federal audit, page 2, and this is the way we auditors say these things, no instances of a non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported. So that's basically what our goal was, to not have reportable items. Page 5, schedule of expenditures of federal awards is fairly stated in all material respects. And then on page 13 in the state section, the city complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements for the OPM's compliance supplement that could have a direct and material effect. And then this on page 15, schedule of expenditures of state financial assistance is fairly stated in all material respects. Basically saying that the way we handled our finances and recorded them don't hinder our ability to get state and federal funds. So these are really great things. So that's what in here. To me, it makes sense if we could go to the corrective action plan next, as opposed to going to the audited financials.
That's fine.
Okay. You'll find in your packet my response and my corrective action plan. It's about 4 pages. There were 4 findings in the report that we needed to address, and they all have been addressed. Actions have been put in place such that they are corrected for the 2026 fiscal year. I do not expect these to repeat in 2026. 2 were for the city and 2 for the Board of Education. The first item was regarding cash disbursement cutoff. The city made the mistake of allowing payments against multi-year projects to fall into 2025, when in some cases they really belonged in 2026. So we've corrected that. The actions, we've taken a number of steps, more careful review of all expenditures placed before us, requests for payment, and it's worth the time and effort, and we are doing that today. Second item was on procurement and suspension debarment. This is applicable to our federal funds. Mostly our federal funds are the ARPA program, as you're aware. We were checking for all the right things, but we weren't maintaining the right documentation. And so we've gone back and we've fixed that immediately. Auditors were nice enough to point that out to us while they were here doing their field work, so we were able to address that early. The next 2 are associated with the Board of Education. There's a compliance problem with their subrecipient monitoring. Fortunately for them, the state now does not fund that particular Fund E through the city. It funds them directly, so it won't be an issue for next year. But the Director of Finance for the Board of Education and I drew up a policy for adherence and made sure everybody was aware of it. And if indeed we become a pass-through entity to a subrecipient, we do have procedures in place that are well-defined and will ensure that we follow the right program. The last thing is on Medicaid. There's and this is a repeated finding. For some reason, we repeatedly put the wrong number in one of the boxes on the Medicaid form. So the education will implement procedures to make sure that that is not done again next year or in the years following. Any questions on the single audits or the corrective action plans?
Open it up to the council. Any questions, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. I actually don't have a question, but I have a comment. During my first term, my first year, this document was much longer, and a lot of the deficiencies were incredibly concerning. Mm-hmm. And I just want to applaud the hard work of the mayor, and I know multiple people in her staff. But Mr. Taylor, you've been the constant in the finance office during a lot of this work. So, and I know with you and your partnership with the mayor has turned an incredibly difficult process and a very lengthy list of deficiencies into two on the city side that, from the sounds of it, are relatively, comparatively simple to address, and it sounds like that you have addressed them. So my hat's off to all of you. Thank you for the hard work and well done.
Well, thank you on behalf of my team, because they've really done an excellent job of understanding and adhering, even though we've made the procedures in their minds probably endless. But but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any other council members have any questions or comments regarding the audit? Mr. Taylor, I just have one. Well, I want to read something just for the record. That's on page 15 of the single audit, and I think it's important. This is from obviously the auditor, PKF O'Connor Davies. In our opinion, the schedule of expenditures of state financial assistance is fairly stated in all material respects in relation to the basic financial statements as a whole. And specifically, the page after that breaks down the grants that they're specifying. One of those is the Alliance District grant of $14,456,475, and also the School Readiness grant of $2,208,292. So my reading of that means that the auditor feels that we've handled those grants appropriately, as a listing of all the other grants also being handled appropriately. Wasn't a question, it was a comment. So one of our largest grants is the ECS grant, Educational Cost Sharing Grant, of over $42 million. Could you tell me why that's an exempt program, which I think, which I understand of being, they don't look at that particular grant because it's either looked by somebody else or it doesn't make a certain threshold. It obviously makes the threshold. So I just was wondering if you knew what that meant.
I don't know precisely what it means by it is exempt, but I will hazard what I think it means.
Okay.
The grant itself, being the ECS grant, is how we fund the Board of Education. The Board of Education determines their budget and how they will spend it. So the state doesn't reach down and say, no, you shouldn't spend this much on teachers and this much on transportation, et cetera. So I think that's why the term exempt is applied.
So it's audited by the state or some other entity besides our auditor?
No. Well, he audits that we've recorded it correctly.
Right.
But there's no reporting back on how you spent other than reporting our expenditures and revenues properly, and then the audit, which is the next document we're going to take a quick look at. So I think that's what that means by exempt, and it's it's really what the state says they're going to give you, and that's what you get.
Understood.
And,
Yep. Okay. I understand that. Thank you. The other piece. So as you listed the findings, it was pretty clear in the city findings that the finance director, and sometimes, depending on what it was, the internal auditor would be responsible for that. There's a couple of findings, obviously, that aren't on the city side, but are on the Board of Education side. It indicates that the Board of Education is aware of these findings. I guess it's not fair to ask you, but if you know, respond. If not, we'll try to get the Board of Ed finance director to answer. But it appears by the documents that the Board of Ed finance director understands where the gaps were and have created policies now in place, so we won't see them repeat for 2026.
that's my understanding as well. And she and I worked together on the first of the two findings on the new policy, because the city could be a pass-through agency as well. So I wanted to have something that was broad enough that covered both of us, and what the audit procedures would be and the responsibility of the city or the Board of Education should we be passing state money through to a subrecipient. So on that one, it's dependent on her to monitor what's going on with the Board of Ed, on me for what's on the city. Good news is, right, as of the beginning of this year, we have none of that. So we're going to have to remember that these policies exist should we ever get one, and that'll be up to us to do.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else from the council have any questions regarding the single audit and the management response? You want to go on to the financial report, David?
Of course. So we're just going to look at every page. No, just kidding. Again, on page 2 of the auditor's report, you can see the auditor's opinion. And to boil it down, it basically says statements are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in all material respects, which is the best opinion you can get from an auditor on this. They have so many. The way auditors have to say things, it kind of keeps them from saying it's the best thing we've ever seen. You know, they don't want to go out and do that. But so anyway, that again, a clean opinion. I'd like to talk a little bit about the results, and if you want to turn to page 21, you'll have to shift your book sideways.
Yep. Got it.
The leftmost column, down towards the bottom, we had a net impact on fund balance, otherwise known as a deficit, of $6 million, and you can see that down towards the bottom. This was driven by the deficit spending of the Board of Education of $9 million and offset by the city's surplus of $3 million. And if you keep following on the page there, the last number's an ending fund balance of $15 million. That represents 7.4% of 2025 expenditures. Well, the not so good news, but is that level of spending includes the Board of Education's deficit spending. If we were to take that fund balance and compare it to the 2027 budget, which you just recently approved, of $188 million in expenditures, our fund balance is now, it would be 8.1% of expenditures. And 8% is a number we're all kind of used to of trying to measure ourselves against right now. And so I'm pleased that we're still in that position today. Page 127, I just briefly...
David, while you're on this page, can
Yeah,
I
of
just
course.
ask you a question? I think I know what it is, but I just want to put it out there if that's what it is. So on that same column there on page 21, like four blocks up, it says extraordinary item insurance recoveries, $1,037,363. It looks like that we had a claim that the insurance company paid us.
Yes. Sorry, I was struggling to find that number. Yes, that is the claim that I believe. I think it was the Hartford, but anyway, the insurance company paid us due to the I'll just call it the DeMassa pilfering.
I mean, that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to call that out because I think it took it. I don't think
was a
we
huge
filed
effort.
the claim and they said, okay, here's the money, right? I think it took a lot of work from the mayor and you and your team in order to get them to that point where they release funds for that claim. And I think that's significant, right? So it's always been an issue and you'll work very hard and you didn't give up on it. So I appreciate that. I thank the mayor and you and your team for doing that.
And corporate counsel and our short-term risk manager was really helped us with that too as well.
I'm sorry, you could continue on if.
Okay. I just wanted to bring up internal service funds, which are on page 127. It's been a topic of conversation between us for the last several years. I wanted to report that not only in the aggregate, but individually, the internal service funds are all in the black. Our goal here, if I could just remind you, is that our assets are equal to or more than our liabilities, and in every case, that's where we are.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It is the first time. But
well done.
You can thank the mayor's persistence on that.
Thank you, Mayor. Questions on the financial report from the council? Mayor, do you have any comments? Yeah.
Sure. I just want to thank you and Councilman Vargo for the kind words. When we were first elected, we were 3 audits behind. We're 3 years, 3 audits behind, and it was a goal, was one of Marb's goal, but not only Marb's goal, but our goal, to wrap those audits up. So we pulled together 3 audits in 1 year, which was quite instrumental, and David was a really big help, clearly, with that. This audit took a little longer than we would have liked because of the challenges with Board of Education and the deficit unrelated to the grants, the special education deficits that we know existed, not really learning about those until the end of until December, and the year was already closed for 6 months. That caused us to be delayed, but we did get it in on time. We just, hopefully this year we'll get it in even sooner. But we were really happy with the results. I did not look at the minutes of the Board of Education. I don't know. Did they go over the audit at the Board of Education meeting?
They did not yet.
Right. So I think it would be a great idea if Ian shared the audit with the Board of Education at the next meeting. So they're aware, just like you're being apprised and you asked for what are the comments and what are the challenges or internal control areas that we need to improve. The Board of Education should be aware on the board side, not just us, because they're the ones responsible for fixing them. But I think we've made so much progress. And I want to be clear, like, we're not done, right? All the time we find things, right? And we say, oh, we got to fix that. Or, we could tighten this up. Or, sometimes we discover it by an error. Sometimes we just, through the course of our day say, this is something that we need to work on. So it's a work in progress. And David's right. There's an entire team in the finance department, plus a lot of help from everybody else, all of our other elected officials who've helped us along the way. So it was a good audit. And just as a reminder, this was the last year for this auditor. We auditors are usually 3 to 5 years. We had this auditor 3 years. We had gone to Marb because we extended it to a 4th year because we're in the midst of the process with him, but went out to bid for a new auditor. So we'll have another new set of eyes. It's always nice to have a fresh set of eyes as your auditor because they might find something different. And finding things and helping them to fix us is not a bad thing. Findings are not a bad thing. It's telling us what we need to do better. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else regarding the audit? Seeing none? Mr. Taylor, again, thank you for all your hard work. Okay, moving on. Finance Committee, Communication A, from Christopher Mercer, founder and executive director of Family First Initiative, is requesting consideration and action on the reimbursement of 2 $50 permit fees paid to the building department and the zoning department. Is there a motion from the committee to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Donovan. Is there a second? Who was that?
Nancy. Tagliatella.
Answer's not on the committee.
Oh. Nope.
Ellie?
Has to be.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Garthwaite. Is there any discussion? Seeing no, I'm sorry, Councilman
That's right.
Donovan.
Yeah, I believe this is something we should do. We've done it in the past for many of these organizations. So I'm going to be for passing this. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. Any other comments by committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That can't be because we all voted aye. Motion carries. Do you want me to go to the? Okay. All right. So, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the. At the end. Got it. I'll get there. Okay. Next up is Communication F. Communication F is the formally requested the City Council pass an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 capital budget to remove the capital plan appropriations for certain projects and add and increase appropriations set forth in Exhibit A of the attached. This is the second time that it's been brought to us in the public meeting. There was no public comments at the hearing, so from the committee, I would take a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Donovan,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Garthwaite. Any discussion amongst the committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And then the rest is history. Communication G. Communication is to formally request that the City Council pass an ordinance allowing for the issuance of bonds in the amount of $12,477,252 and for temporary borrowing pending the issue of such bonds to fund certain projects from the fiscal year 2024-2025 capital budget as set forth in Exhibit A of the proposed bonding ordinance included herein. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Donovan,
Second.
second by Councilman Garthwaite. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will you please make your motions on behalf of the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Committee on Finance, I move that Communication A, request for reimbursement of permit fees paid by Family First initiatives totaling $100 be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Quagliani to approve Communication A. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Heffernan. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Committee on Finance, I move that Communication F from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda, an ordinance amending the FY 24-25 capital budget be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Quagliani to approve Communication F from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Beaton. Any discussion? I just want one question, Mr. Taylor. Councilman Quagliani and I, we think that we verified this, but I just want to hear it from you if you don't mind. Councilman Quagliani brought up a quick amendment to the schedule. I just want to confirm that those adjustments have been made into this document that we're approving tonight.
Yes, that involved the reallocation of certain funds to paving,
Yes.
and that's in there.
Perfect. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Committee on Finance, I move that Communication G from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda, an ordinance allowing for the issuance of bonds in the amount of $12,477,252 be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Quagliani to approve Communication G from the June 22nd, 2026 agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman McMillan. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
And that concludes the business of the Committee on Finance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Quagliani. Next up is the Committee on Health and Wellness. Acting Chair Tagliatella.
Thank you, Chairman. The time is 7:44, and the Committee on Health and Wellness is now in session. Members present are Councilman Heffernan, Councilman Ronan, Councilman Garthwaite, and absent Councilman Catherine Tucker. I would like to entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication H be approved.
Motion.
Any discussion from?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but since Stacy's going to have to do this by the recording, just for the record, the first was from Councilwoman Heffernan, the second is from Councilman Ronan.
Any discussion from the committee? Any discussion from the council? Questions?
I was just going to ask if the mayor might just speak some words about the necessity of having this resolution to take care of our food insecure.
Sure. So happy to, and I'm really happy that we are presenting this ordinance and for your consideration. So we know that in West Haven, our food insecurity rate is around 13%, which is could be a little higher now since last year. I'm going to look at the statistics again, but food insecurity has just become a fancy word for hungry. We have people that are hungry. And a couple of years ago, when I was up at the state, I was working on food insecurity program and passing a bill for funding and working on resources. And I was actually at the Apple Festival. And somebody who works for, who volunteers at one of the churches in West Haven tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "That's great, you're doing all this work for the state of Connecticut. What about back home? You got to help us back home with food insecurity." And he was right. So I formed a food policy council, and I contacted as many as I thought would be involved in that. Who has excess food? Who needs excess food? And what is the delivery system to get the food from the resources to those who are in need? So we met at the Military Museum. We had an inaugural meeting. The churches were involved. Board of Education was involved. Health Department was involved. Community Center was involved. Havens Harvest was involved. So I see Lori in the audience. And we talked about, the gaps. And everybody was working hard to try to help the residents, but we weren't coordinated. So that was the whole goal of the Food Policy Council, was to, who's doing what on Monday night? Who are you giving food to? How do we get this organized? And it transitioned over to the community center, West Haven Community Center. They helped take the lead after, I was elected. And one of the great things that came out of that was we created that food resource guide. And everybody kind of adjusted their schedules to make sure there was a meal available every single day, rather than five places doing it on Tuesday. And then we put that guide together and then disseminated it out to the communities, because this is great, but we need people to understand where they can get a hot meal. So that was really great. But one of the challenges we saw in this Food Policy Council is there were some departments at the city that would have excess food. Some restaurants are great at it. Not everybody is comfortable with donating food because they feel there's a liability. And there is no liability because the Emerson's Law was passed, and that protects you from donating food to an organization. God forbid somebody gets sick, or there's an allergy. It's like a Good Samaritan law. So we wanted to make sure that we encourage through this ordinance that any department, including the Board of Education, which really is the department that has the most excess food, not because they, I'm only saying it's excess because, in a school, you're going to have leftover food, some portion of leftover food, really that you do everything you can to donate that food. We don't want to waste any food. We don't want to waste any food in any department. If somebody has an event or the Board of Education has excess food in a school, our schools also have food pantries, our high school and our junior high schools. So we just want to, through this ordinance, let all the departments and all the leaders of all the departments know that we take food insecurity very seriously, and we are strongly suggesting that any excess food is donated. I want to thank First Congregational Church, because they do an amazing job with food insecurity and really provides a lot of access. So we have a lot of work to do, but this is just another tool to help us do that. And once we pass this, now I would love to take it to the next level and require any businesses that have excess food to donate it. That's a little harder to do because they're private organizations. However, I was thinking maybe we could say, if you are going to donate, you donate in West Haven, because what was frustrating to me through this work was that, listen, hunger is hunger, and we're glad anybody is fed, right? So if our food is going to New Haven or if it's going somewhere else, somebody's getting fed. But I strongly feel that the organizations that are in West Haven, that our residents shop at, and have excess food, that should be staying in West Haven. So those are conversations I have with supermarkets, right down to the 7-Elevens. We do continually have those conversations. Please keep that food in West Haven. We have people who will deliver it to people in need. So with that, I think that's about it. And I want to thank Councilman Quagliani, who really worked and helped spearhead and work with us on this ordinance. He's at UNH, as you all know, and they do a really good job. Haven Harvest and I know, right? They do a really good job of donating excess food to the community, because we have volunteered to pick it up at the back door, and we bring it to housing authorities, veterans' homes, wherever we can that we know there's need. So thank you, everybody.
Any further questions, comments from the council? Chairman Varga.
Thank you. I just want to thank the mayor and Councilman Quagliani for putting this together. Food insecurity is something that's near and dear to my heart. I belong to the First Congregational Church, and I see every single week. Most people think that somebody that's hungry may also be unhoused, but that's just simply not the case. It's a lot of folks that just do not have enough money to make ends meet, and they have to choose between paying their rent, paying their mortgage, keeping the lights on, whatever the case might be. There's a lot of people that are going to benefit from this, and from the bottom of my heart, just thank you, because it is gut-wrenching to see people come to you and say, I need some help because I'm hungry. We live in the most magnificent country in the world, and we have 13% of our own residents who go to sleep every night hungry. And thank you.
Thank you. Third and final, any questions, comments from the council? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Let's see. Okay, the time is 7:52, and the Committee on Health and Wellness is adjourned.
Thank you. Excellent job.
Thank
Would
you.
you please make your motion to the council?
Health and Wellness Committee motions to the entire council. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of your Committee on Health and Wellness, regarding Communication H, I move that the following resolution requiring all city departments to donate eligible surplus food to assist with food insecurity be adopted. Whereas the City of West Haven recognizes that food insecurity affects a significant number of residents, including children, seniors, veterans, and families who rely on community-based food assistance programs. And whereas it is in the public interest to ensure that wholesome surplus food generated through the city operations is used to support residents rather than being wasted. And whereas the City of West Haven acknowledges the work of nonprofit organizations, food pantries, shelters, community groups, and other agencies that provide critical food assistance service within the community. And whereas the federal Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act provides strong liability protections to individuals, businesses, and government entities that donate food in good faith, provided the food is apparently wholesome and the donor has not acted with gross negligence or intentional misconduct. And whereas Connecticut law also supports food donation and follows similar principles, encouraging the safe and responsible redistribution of surplus food. And whereas promoting food donation by city departments will reduce waste, support community organizations, strengthen public health, and contribute to a more resilient and compassionate food system in West Haven. And whereas establishing a consistent and coordinated food donation policy across all city departments will improve efficiency, transparency, and accountability in the city's efforts to address food insecurity. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of West Haven that citywide food donation requirement. All departments, offices, commissions, and entities under the jurisdiction of the City of West Haven that produce, purchase, prepare, or manage food as part of their operations shall, whenever feasible, donate surplus wholesome food to qualified community organizations, assisting West Haven residents experiencing food insecurity. 2. Eligible surplus food. Food eligible for donation includes any surplus foods that is safe and fit for human consumption at the time of donation, properly handled and stored according to applicable safety standards, free from contamination or spoilage, within city quality standards, including items past best by dates that remain wholesome. 3. Compliance with federal law. All donations made under this resolution shall comply with the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act, which provides civil and criminal liability protection for good faith food donors who do not engage in gross negligence or intentional misconduct. 4. Approved partner organizations. Food donations may be made to nonprofit organizations, food rescue groups, food pantries, shelters, community centers, and any other qualified entities addressing food insecurity in West Haven. 5. Departmental responsibilities. Each department shall identify surplus food suitable for donation, coordinate with approved partner agencies for pickup or delivery, maintain simple internal records of donations, provide staff with basic guidance on food handling and donation procedures. 6. No additional liability created. This resolution shall not expand liability for the City of West Haven or any city department and shall be interpreted in accordance with existing state and federal protections for food donations. 7. Effective date. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilwoman Tagliatella to approve Communication H. Do I have a second? Second from Councilman Quagliani. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Well done. Moving on to the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. Chairman Ronan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The time is now 7:58, and the Committee on Personnel and Civil Service is now in session. Members present are Councilors Heffernan, Quagliani, McMillan, Garthwaite, and Ronan, acting as chair. I will entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication B be approved.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on committee? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication C be approved.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication D be approved.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion D passes. I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication E be approved.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication F be approved.
Motion.
Second. Is there a second? Sorry.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication G be approved.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the entire council that Communication L be approved.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. That concludes the business of your personnel and civil service at 8:01.
Thank you. Please make any motions on behalf of the committee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication B, the appointment of Rick Spryer as Director to the Greater New Haven Transit District Board of Directors, effective immediately and expiring on July 31st, 2028, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Ronan to approve communication B. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Quagliani. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication C, the reappointment of Carol Porto to the Zoning Board of Appeals, effective immediately and expiring on January 31st, 2031, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Ronan to approve communication C. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Heffernan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication D, the reappointment of Jason Michael DiLorenzo to the Energy Commission, effective immediately and expiring on February 25th, 2028, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Ronan to approve communication D. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Garthwaite. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication E, the reappointment of William Joseph Kane to the Inland Wetlands Agency, effective immediately and expiring on July 31st, 2031, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Ronan to approve communication E. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Heffernan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication F, the reappointment of Andrew H. Weinstein to the Economic Development Commission, effective immediately and expiring on January 31st, 2031, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Ronan to approve communication F. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman McMillan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication G, the reappointment of Troy T. Tappan to the West Haven Allentown Fire Commission, effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2031, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Quagliani to approve Councilman Ronan to approve communication G. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman McMillan. Any discussion? Councilman Donovan.
Just a refresher, Mr. Tappan, did he fill in for somebody or finish somebody's appointment a couple of years ago? Do we know that? And now he's being reappointed, or has he been there the whole time? I don't.
Well, he's a current commissioner, just up for reappointment. I don't know what might have happened before me.
Okay.
I just know he's an existing commissioner. He's not an alternate, and his term is up.
So he could have been on for a while because I didn't have that
Yeah.
information. All right.
He could have been. I don't know.
All right. Thank you.
All set?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, I move that Communication L, the reappointment of Deborah A. Johnson to the Senior Citizens Commission, effective immediately and expiring on May 31st, 2031, be approved.
I have a motion from Councilman Ronan to approve communication L. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Heffernan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
That concludes our business, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Ronan. Next up is the Committee on Legislative Matters. Chairman Quagliani.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The time is 8:06 p.m. Committee members of Legislative Matters are Councilman Ronan, Councilwoman Garthwaite, myself, Councilman Quagliani as chair, and Councilwoman Akbarali and Tucker are absent this evening. Before us, we have Communication J regarding a request from Mayor Durandabor for consideration and action on amendment to Chapter 154 Noise of the Code of the City of West Haven. I'd like to obtain a motion for a public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Garthwaite, seconded by Councilwoman Heffernan. Any discussion amongst the committee members? Seeing none.
Sorry, Councilman Heffernan is not on the committee.
Oh, how about that? Thank you, Councilman Ronan. Much appreciated.
Just throw your voice.
Any discussion on the request for first reading? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We also have in front of us communication M from Mayor Dorinda Boyer requesting consideration and action on ordinance amending Chapter 80, bicycles, electric personal assistive mobility devices, electronic propulsion vehicles, and golf carts of the Code of City of West Haven. I'd like to get a motion for first reading on that.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Garthwaite, second by Councilman Ronan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes your business, Mr. Chairman of the Legislative Matters Committee at 8:07.
Thank you. Now we will schedule the public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Committee on Legislative Matters, I request that a public hearing be scheduled on Communication J, amendment to Chapter 154 noise of the Code of the City of West Haven.
Communication J will be set for a public hearing on August 24th, 2026 at 6:57 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Committee on Legislative Matters, I request a public hearing be scheduled on Communication M, amendment to Chapter 80, bicycles, electric personal assistive mobility devices, electronic propulsion vehicles, and golf carts of the Code of the City of West Haven.
Thank you. We will schedule a public hearing on Communication M for August 24th, 2026 at 6:58. But at this time, I would like to recognize the mayor to speak to this because this is a pretty expansive ordinance that has been put in a lot of work that's going to address an immediate need. So I'd like to have some discussion.
Sure. So we've heard from a lot of residents and sometimes non-residents about the e-bikes. They go fast. Sometimes there's more than one, and it's disruptive, and it's a public safety issue. So our police, in particular on the boardwalk, and we know summer is very active boardwalk, and our police, if somebody's unruly, they try to address it. What this ordinance does is it gives it more teeth. So what we're saying through this ordinance is that there are no e-bikes on the boardwalk unless you turn the electric part off. So just to be clear, because there are people my age who may have an e-bike, you can have an e-bike on the boardwalk as long as you're pedaling or walking it. Other than that, nobody can have the electronic device on. And that also applies to scooters. So you could ride your scooter on the boardwalk, but you can't have an electric scooter being powered on the boardwalk. This gives our police opportunity to, remove anybody from the boardwalk, but it also gives a violation, and it also gives an opportunity for impounding, because we do need teeth in these rules so that there's consequences. So this allows, the first violation is $100, second violation is $100, but at the police discretion, after they've warned somebody of any age that they're violating the ordinance, they can impound the device. Want to point out very clearly that there's exceptions to this. So motorized vehicles are also an exception, meaning you could have motorized wheelchairs. You can have on the boardwalk, motorized vehicles. Also, any city vehicles, right? So we need to have golf carts on the boardwalk, or we need to have our police quad on the boardwalk. So the exceptions are very reasonable and common sense. But as of when this ordinance passes, there will be no e-bikes allowed on the boardwalk. We also address sidewalks, right? Very important to Councilman Vargo, which was a very good point. We don't want to push children into the street. There's a lot of kids on scooters. Scooters is a way for them to get around, and a lot of them are e-scooters. We don't want to push them into the street, but however, they can't be unruly either. So they cannot go over 10 miles an hour on the sidewalk if there are youth on the sidewalks with a scooter or an e-bike. And that also has a violation and a fine attached to that as well. So I think that everybody did a lot of work on this. We went back and forth. The police have been doing a good job, but this, like I said, it gives it teeth, and it gives them the ability to really take them off the boardwalk and now say no e-bikes on the boardwalk. And I know that's important to a lot of residents.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I know that you've been working on this since last year, and we decided and you decided to take some time to address this in a smart way. And I think that this ordinance absolutely accomplishes that. And thank you for listening to my concerns. I know that a lot of 10-year-olds and teenagers use scooters instead of regular bicycles, so I want to make sure that they're safe. The mayor spoke with Corporation Counsel, and all of those concerns have been put into this. So I'm very happy with this document, and hopefully this will keep the kids safe, but also keep them accountable for their actions, and the parents accountable, and make sure that the people that want to enjoy the boardwalk and other areas of the city are able to do so safely. So well done, and thank you. Any other discussion on
Mr.
this?
Chairman, yeah, I do.
Sure.
So I would like to make an amendment to the draft ordinance under 80-10 compliance with traffic control, signal control devices. Right now it reads any person operating a bicycle, EPA, electronic propulsion vehicle, or golf cart shall obey the instructions of official traffic signal signs and other control devices applicable to vehicles unless otherwise directed by a police officer. I'd like to add or other authorized traffic official. That is my amendment.
Or other authorized
Traffic official.
Okay, I will send an email to Corporation Counsel and copy the mayor with that amended language.
Do we need to have a vote on that?
Yeah, I have a. Yeah, do you want to make a motion? That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's
That's your motion.
That's my motion.
I have a motion
I'll
from.
second that.
I have a, we haven't done this in a month, so we're a little shaky. I have a motion from Councilman Quagliani to amend section 80-10A to say at the end, directed by a police officer or other authorized traffic official. Do I have a second? Second from Councilman Ronan. Any discussion?
We're just voting on that, right? Because I know that in discussion is still open after that.
Yes,
correct? Okay.
correct. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, and I will send an email out to Corporation Counsel and copy the mayor with the amended language before it gets published.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman McMillan.
I just had a couple of questions regarding the e-bikes. Is there going to be any educational components for our youngsters, our high school students that may possibly be a part of that? And are we saying no to hoverboards as well?
Hoverboards is in anything electronically powered, I think is how it reads. So it's generally anything electronically powered. And then it says, and here are the exceptions. So hoverboards as well. A, I answered B before I answered A. A is we've already ordered signs for the boardwalk, and we're going to put it out on social media. We're going to put it out in the paper. I don't know that high school students are necessarily watching our social media, so we have somebody younger that's going to help us get it out into the schools.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank
School's
you.
not back till September, till late August though, so we gotta do our best to get the word out.
Thank you.
Councilman Garthwaite?
Can we, Mayor, for the record, could you tell us boardwalk means in front of the water treatment plant all the way down to the pink playground, right?
Correct. But even if there is confusion about boardwalk, that's a sidewalk, right? So from West Walk to Sandy Point, that's still, either way, it's, no, because it's, you could go up to 10 miles an hour on a sidewalk. So, so I don't know if that's defined as a boardwalk. So we're going to have to, you know what, let's clarify that. And then for the public hearing, we will adjust it if we have to.
Okay, because there are a lot of electronic bikes and such.
Yeah, yeah. And I think some people consider the boardwalk, from the edge of some Washington Avenue to the Pink Park.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to define in this that boardwalk means, make it clear, right? Because the goal is to not have the electronic devices from Sandy Point, from Sandy Point all the way to the Charlotte's Playground. So we'll make that clear in the ordinance during the public session. We'll update it. Good point.
Yeah, my stepsons are going to be so sad because they love to ride their scooters up and down in front of the Riva and.
Yeah.
But
Well, they can ride it
it's
like
for
the
the
rest
better.
of us used
it's for
to.
the better. We'll send it home to their home
Yes.
so they can ride it on their own street.
They have a month. Any other discussion? Sure.
I want to thank people for their patience with our police. You know, I get a lot of calls. We want the police on the boardwalk. We want the police at the Green. We want the police at Dawson Avenue. We want the police in Allington. Our police department is doing the very best that they can with the staffing they have. I know I mentioned that we're hiring new staff. That's within the budget. We have a beach patrol. We have a downtown patrol. But, you know, sometimes I'll see people say, where's our PD? They're there. They're out there. There is almost 100 police officers that are, you know, they're also doing the bar patrol. So there's a lot of police officers out there doing a lot of work. They're not, you know, ignoring the situation. This is going to help, though, because sometimes they can see something going on, but they don't have the authority. And that's why it took a little time. We have to make sure we line up with our statutes. We have to make sure we go through our legal team. We have to make sure, you know, impounding is a serious thing, right? Taking somebody's property, that's a whole nother set of statutes. So I just want to thank people for their patience, and we fix things as we can, and we give them the authority as we can.
Any other discussion? I just want to recognize and thank you and the process to go through this, because what this shows is this is government addressing a need that's being brought up in real time. You know, it's summertime, you're receiving a lot of complaints and corrective actions being taken. You know, sometimes the wheels of government take a little bit longer than some folks want, but you want to make sure that what we're doing is smart, appropriate, and is going to make the difference that they're asking for. So I appreciate that. And also the collaborative efforts that were made, because while we're addressing one problem, I don't want to create another problem with our youth. And I think that we were able to strike a balance with this. So I just really appreciate how this all came about. And again, I think that this is a document that's going to accomplish what folks are setting out to. Any other discussion? Okay.
That concludes the business of our Committee on Legislative Matters. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And last but not least, the Committee on Public Lands, Councilman Donovan.
Let me start over. I didn't have my mic on. The time is now.
Stacey's going to give you 12 lashings.
The time is now 8:20. Committee on Public Lands is now in session. Committee members tonight are Councilman Rivera, Councilwoman Tagliatella, Councilwoman Garthwaite, myself acting as chair. Councilwoman Akbarali is absent. Tonight we have before us Communication I from Mayor Dorinda Borer, requesting consideration and action on a resolution approving a lease agreement with Alschuler Building LLC for the exclusive use of 10 parking spaces within the parking lot located at 9 Curtis Place. I'm not reading the entire agreement, correct? So with the council, I am entertaining a motion to request a public hearing for Communication I.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Rivera, second by Councilwoman Tagliatella. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Communication, so the time is now 8:21, and your Committee on Public Lands is now closed.
Thank you. We will schedule the public hearing for August 24, 2026 at 6:59 p.m. I think that's it.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. The only item is charter revision. So tomorrow night, July 28th at 6 o'clock, we are going to convene and vote on the final recommendations and the final report from the Charter Revision Commission. Just want to remind the council and remind the public that it is a simple yes or no vote. There's no more opportunity for discussion. There's no more opportunity for further revisions and suggestions. So it is just a yes or no on all of their recommended changes. If time permits and we're able to get through that fairly quickly, then Corporation Counsel and Attorney Mednick are going to be prepared, I believe, for us to start our work on discussing and possibly choosing on what the questions on the ballot will look like. Depending on how far we get tomorrow, we may or may not then reconvene on August 5th to finish the ballot questions. But tomorrow night, we cannot leave until we have a final vote on the charter itself. The ballot questions can wait, but our deadline is tomorrow. Any further discussion on charter? Okay. 6 o'clock. You're welcome. Moving on to City Council liaison reports. Anything from anybody? Councilman Donovan?
Yeah, I'm on the planning and zoning liaison, and I got to say, they do a great job. They really do. Every one of those members there, they do a thorough job there. I'm very impressed with the way they handle themselves and the way they think everything through. There's a lot of times when they can't come to something, they hold it in committee. So, Ron, I believe you were the liaison a few years back, so I know you understand. It's just very impressive the way they work. So, just wanted to give them kudos. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other liaison reports? Any new business from the council? Councilman Beaton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to address the mayor, and I just want to thank you for your rapid response to the beach erosion on Seaview and Lake Street. Your social media post was very helpful in terms of how I could explain it to my constituents, in terms of how there is a plan. You had done it when you were in state legislature, and I appreciate how that was very well spelled out. Contrary to what social media says, I've never seen devastation like that there. Lake Street was hit 2 years ago, but I've never saw it go that far towards Seaview Avenue. And I'm happy to report this morning and today that they restored the beaches, at least at our end today. So thank you for your quick and rapid response to that issue.
Thank you. Councilman McMillan?
I would like to say to the mayor and everyone that participated and that had a part in it, the Savin Rock Festival was fabulous. That it was really, really a good time. I enjoyed my helicopter ride again, and thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Councilman Donovan?
Yeah, we had a few residents come up, talk about their devastation, obviously, with that. And I believe there's ARPA money there. I believe we had it for a heading of drainage or flooding or something. And I think they went out and did a study. They had an engineer go out and do a study and they had a game plan or something. My memory shot, so I'm not sure exactly how much it was. But I can actually get a hold of Ken Carney and ask him, unless you know about that. But the residents over there have been taking a beating. The berm just basically is gone. I know Councilman Beaton has been on top of it. I am willing to extend an olive branch out to him and give him a hand, as well as I'm not volunteering Mr. Quagliani, but I know he knows about this as well. But anything you need, I would definitely help you out with that. So, yeah, I think that we could put some money into this if there's money there. We can help these people out as well. Just again, I'm not sure how much it was the first time, so I'll have to get those answers. So that's it.
Thank you. I'm sure the mayor has more information, but on the issue of the devastation, I mean, I know that the mayor has spoken to us and the public, so has Commissioner Sistick, that we have an aging infrastructure and an infrastructure that is just not efficient enough to take care of the demand because we have more water than we have had historically. So it's creating a lot of problems, a lot of headaches for you, I'm sure. But I do want to thank the very quick response, as Councilman Beaton had said. You took to social media right away. you inform the residents, this was absolutely devastating. I mean, this was hurricane level damage without hurricane level storm. It's going to take time to rebuild, and it's going to take time and a lot of money to try to fix this. And I know that you want to fix, but we also have to be mindful of what the taxpayers can support. So I know that that's a tough balance, but I am confident that you and your folks are on top of it, and anything that the council can do, please come to us, because we want to make sure that this is addressed as efficiently and quickly as we can. Councilman McMillan?
Speaking of storms and water, I was just wondering, is there any update on Sanford Street?
Do you want me to talk about everything, or just that?
Does anybody else have anything?
Well, let everybody else go, and then I'll
Okay,
answer
yeah,
everybody.
Why don't we do that if you don't
How
mind?
it- okay.
Councilman Heffernan. We'll just go in line.
Okay, you go. Just a few questions. I've been getting a lot on the drain across from Riva, the big exposed drain. They've been asking, is it going to get fixed? Is it just going to stay like that? You know what I call it. It looks like a big drain. Sewer pipe. And that's been for a while. So people have been asking me, do I know what's going on? But obviously we've had other issues with the storm, obviously with Lake Street and Seaview, which they do understand, but they asked me to bring it up at the next meeting. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Heffernan?
I wanted everyone to know that the Allentown Fire Department, I know everyone probably does already know that they put in car seats for people, and I have to tell you, such a wonderful service. I used it today, and they couldn't have been nicer. And one of the car seats I have is quite large, and really, they're telling you, they're heavy and they're hard to move, and they were patient and kind, and I can't say enough nice things. And I wish I could, do something. I don't know what to do for them, but thank you.
Is it for Noodle?
It was not for Noodle. It was actually for human children, not the dog. But thank you. Thank you for letting me tell it. They're just wonderful, wonderful guys, Joe. Thank you.
Councilwoman Garthwaite?
Thank you. I just want to share information. On Saturday, August 8th, Sandy Point Neighborhood Association is sponsoring, again, the second annual One Neighbor's Trash is Another Neighbor's Treasure. It's having your own tag sale, yard sale on National Garage Sale Day. If you're interested, please let me know by Monday so that I can put your address on the flyer and pass it out on social media. Also, we have our annual Shorebird Walk and Tour on the 8th as well, and it'll be at 11 a.m. if anyone's interested.
What day was that?
August 8th, Saturday.
No, that was the Shorebird. What day was that?
August 8th.
They're both August 8th?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Unfortunately, both are. Yeah.
Was that it? Okay. Anything else from the council? Mayor?
Well, first and foremost, so the tag sale, we go to the tag sale? Like people have tag sales in your neighborhood?
Yeah, so what you do is you have a sign provided by a Sandy Point Neighborhood Association. It's One Neighbor's Trash is Another Neighbor's Treasure. We share it on our flyer. We pass it around on social media, and you host it at your own location. The hours are 10 to 4.
So it's citywide. It's not just Sandy Point neighborhood.
It's citywide.
Okay. All right.
Because we were going to just do it in our own little neck of the woods, but people started saying, but I want to participate. And
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
great.
Yeah,
it's
And
great.
last year we had a really good turnout, and we had a lot of people from different cities who came.
Great,
And we're
yeah.
like, this is really, we should do this in our city. And I'm like, yeah,
do
do it in your city too.
Good job. I love tag sales. Okay, let's talk about really important stuff. So this, the flooding, yes, it was a devastating, it was fourth largest, rainfall, I think, in 25 years, they said on the news. And thank God it wasn't high tide. That actually, low tide saved us. Not that, we didn't have those serious complications. So, a couple areas. So, yes, we have a very archaic system. The pipes are small. On Captain Thomas Boulevard, they found pipes from Scotty's. So, that's a little before my time. But, yeah, you do. So that's the kind of pipe those are the kind of pipes we're dealing with. They're original, But anyway, we do have to. We continue to work on it. ARPA didn't do a study on contact drive that I've ever seen. ARPA funding went for CDM Smith, a contractor, to do a mapping of all of our drains, and then we, along with Water Pollution Control and our Public Works, have been on a mission to go replace catch basins and camera these lines and clear them. And we bought a vac truck too to do that. So there is, I can't tell you how many catch basins there are, and we're like, I don't know, maybe 40% of the way through. So there's a lot of work to do, but they are doing it. They're on a mission. But the water came fast and furious, and yes, Lake Street, a couple of years ago, about maybe like 5 years ago, they had the same thing happen, but it was just lake. This time it went down. It was past Seaview. So we addressed it as fast as we could. And, not because we want people to go to the beach and it's aesthetically pleasing. It's dangerous because you saw a lot of people just to take pictures were stepping on those mounds. They could go right through those. So it's a danger. So immediately that night, we worked on it. You have to find the right contractor with the right equipment. 4 contractors had said no. We found the right contractor with the right equipment. They got started 7 a.m. the next day, and they worked really hard to repair it, and they did a really amazing job. The other thing is that we have to get emergency permission from DEEP because you could only move sand a certain time of year by law and regulations. So I had to get a hold of the woman who was responsible for that, and we had to go to the wildlife division and say, we need to move this sand. I sent them all pictures. I sent them all the videos. Residents, that is very helpful when people post things because I was able to use that to get the permission. We moved the sand from Sea Bluff. Sea Bluff has an abundance of sand. A lot of that comes out of the Cove River, and it's just built up there. And if you look at the coastline from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and today to see where the sand is and where the sand isn't, clearly Beach Street is a place where there was beach there, 20 years ago. Sea Bluff, there wasn't a lot of beach there. So a lot of it has to do with how it's depositing on the beach, and the groins are not doing the work that they did 60 years ago because they're underwater. So Lake Street, we do have that Lake Street project, as I mentioned in the video. Ironically, residents that are within 500 feet of the outfall pipe got a letter from DEEP the next night saying we are permitting for the outfall pipe. So it was great timing because the residents were like, wow, you got that letter out fast. I was like, what letter? Oh my God, it went out. That's great. But it's a 3-phase project. And like I said, it's about a $4.8 million project just to do that. But we know that the pipe is crushed under the rocks there, so we have to remove all that. It's very expensive. So that was about $2.3 million just to do phase 1, and that money's pretty much, all earmarked for that project. So we'll continue to work on that, and we thank everybody who helped restore it. But we are also taking sand. The plan was this week. Now with the rain, probably, I don't know, maybe the end of the week. We also have to put sand at Beach Street. Now, let me just be clear, because some folks will call me and say, that's not the answer. Of course I know that's not the answer. I know putting sand is not the answer because it washes out. But we have to do that while we find funding and while we have the engineers and while we have the environmental study that tells us how we fix these things. It's not an easy fix. We have, coastal resiliency and coastal, and we have a shoreline that's changed. So we are going to move the sand until we get, everything in place. At Beach Street, we hired Race. We did an RFP for Race to do a study. They did a study about what we could do there. some of the option, well, the number one thing we have to do there is rock revetment, which means we have to bring in larger rocks to go tuck them in under the road, and then put sand on top of those rocks. So that is the priority. That's number one. But then how do you keep the sand from washing out? Well, there is a groin that's, if your back is to Riva, to the right, that's pretty much underwater. If you look at, pictures, it's just not doing its job. We can't build a new groin, so there's other options. They're very expensive. One of the options is you build mini break walls just specifically around that area. So there are 3 break walls that will protect that area. Another one is artificial reef balls. They're not as attractive. They're pretty cool, but the community builds them. It takes a while to do it. These are all the options that the environmental engineers come up with. But so I want you to know we work on this stuff all the time. We have a meeting with DEEP August 12th, I believe it is, to talk about these options. Permits take about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. So I do my best to move those permits along, which West Haven, we do move our permits along a little faster than other cities. But, it's something that we look at all the time. So I want people to know that we take it seriously when we work on it. Sanford got calls, from a couple residents. They said, you just put drains in and the drains aren't working. The drains didn't work a lot of places throughout the city. This, again, was historic. And I want everybody to also know that before a storm, Public Works goes out and does their best to clear as many drains as possible. But when that water starts to rush, it takes all the debris from the road and it goes right to the drain, because that's where the debris is going to, go. It's like a vacuum, and then it just clogs it, right? So if you have leaves or you have little brush or something in the road and water's running to the drain, it's just going to cover the drain and it just compounds the issue. So then we go back out the next morning and try to clear that. So they called and they said, you put new drains in and it flooded it. A lot of people got flooded. Unfortunately, I got water. City Hall roof. We had a little cave-in actually above my office, and I have some pictures I'll share with you of Ricky Spryer mopping. I will share one day. But it's, it was serious, and tomorrow we are going to get rain nowhere near what we had before. I've already talked to Public Works about clearing out the drain on the grate on Colonial Boulevard, because that gets clogged as well, and pulling out the grass clippings from the flailer who flailed down Colonial Boulevard, because you got to take the grass down. But a reminder, when they go in and they start to dredge, that's when you get the rats as well. So we will dredge. We know we have to dredge, but that does cause, rats live in the sewer and they live in the storm drain, and that does disrupt the wildlife. So that's always a concern of ours as well. So we try to balance that out. And then we also have Ivy League going to contact Drive area tomorrow, first thing in the morning, rebuild the berm the best they can. Again, I know that's not the permanent solution, but it worked for a couple of years. And if we don't have the flooding like we had last week, hopefully it holds it at bay until we figure out what we have to do. And what else on flooding? Anything else on flooding I missed? No? Okay. All right. 2 other things. Since our last meeting, I want to thank everybody who helped on Malloy School on the community center volunteer day. Again, Vertical Church had 300 people volunteering across our city. That's incredible for a lot of projects. We had 40 at Malloy School. We got a lot of painting done, and we put furniture together. We have 2 youth assigned from the Youth Employment Project to Malloy, and they're over there putting furniture together every day. You're welcome to stop in anytime you want, but they're working on the accessible bathrooms there as well. Still, target date is October, so we're keeping that on track. We have over 80 kids that are in the youth program this year. We were able to actually bring in, I think it was another 20, because we got additional grant funding to use. So they're all over the city, and they are amazing. And Jim Egan, who runs the program, said it's one of the best groups he's ever had. So thank you on Molloy School. Thank you Vertical Church and all other and Surfside veterans. Yes, Savin Rock Fest was really truly great. Weather plays a good role in that, but I think we picked the right music. We try to pick, a balance. Everybody likes the Bee Gees, Queen. He was so entertaining, and he does 16 different tribute bands. So I'm talking to him about what else he does because I thought he was really great. Food trucks, crafters, helicopter rides. PD and fire department had their annual cornhole competition. I gotta say, PD beat fire department again. Billy Johnson wasn't playing, so he was not a ringer. But it was really good. We had thousands and thousands of folks. And the other thing I love about it is it's an opportunity for our departments, our health department, our youth department, our fire department to be out there communicating with residents. Here's everything we do. Our elderly services was out there. There was a line there at that table talking about what they could do. So that was great. Thank you. More to come. I just did a video on this today, and I want to just bring it to your attention. I will probably post it tomorrow or Wednesday. This is a drug deactivation pouch that we are using our opioid funding to mail to homes. So not every home is getting it because it's very expensive to mail these. But what we did is we stratified our distribution list based on age demographics to try to target homes we think may have children or teens or youth. What this is you pour warm water in it and you put unused medicine from your medicine cabinet or from your drawer, any pills you have hanging around, because we know statistics show that one of the initial drivers of addiction is using pills that are in a home, maybe painkillers or other pharmaceutical drugs that are no longer needed, or maybe the person in the house passed away, or we do have drug take back day once a year. We also have a police department that has a drug distribution box that you could bring them there, but we just want to send this directly to homes to make sure everybody has an opportunity. And the reason we want you to do this, put warm water and put it in the trash, is don't flush them because they don't dissolve in the waste stream. They don't dissolve in the water. So this just simply dissolves them really quickly. I want to thank the Governor's Prevention Partnership Program because we did this in conjunction with them. We paid for this through, again, the opioid funding. And just as a reminder, I know I say this all the time, but it's worth repeating. There was a settlement with Purdue and the Sackler family because of the opioid crisis. And, you can read all about the lawsuit. I won't get into the details, but every state received significant funding to address the opioid crisis because of what resulted from their manufacturing and distribution of opioids. And then each state distributes and disseminates funding to individual cities based on, unfortunately, the number of overdose deaths statistics show in a city. And then the cities should be using the funding for prevention and recovery methods. So we have used this funding for the Narcan, for the CPR, for the AEDs. We're doing the pouches. We just purchased Stop the Bleed, which we'll be talking about. Ricky's going to come and talk about that in the near future. So we're using our funding very wisely, and the Governor's Prevention Partnership said that we are one of the model cities for how we're actually using the funding. As soon as it comes in, we send it out the door, get it on the street. So I think that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Well, thank you for all that. Councilman Donovan.
Yeah, just a couple things. How's the the Baywatch Tower? How'd that thing work out? And don't we have Acoustic Sunday coming up?
Oh, yes, we do have an Acoustic Sunday coming up. Yes, we did. Yes, we do. It's John Marola.
Next Sunday?
Yep. It's the 2nd, right? Is Sunday the 2nd? Yes. Okay. And the lifeguard station, so we've had a lot of rescues with West Shore recently. A lot of kids go out there, or not just kids, low tide, or they get stuck on the rock. We have the camera. I have the cameras on my phone, so you could see. We'll get the notification that there's a rescue going on. It's really amazing how fast they work, and they're in that water in seconds. But the lifeguard station has the ability to see the Cove River and out on Sea Bluff Beach, because really Cove River is a problem area for for the potential drownings. So that lifeguard station, which is up, is able to see everything. So it's really working out well. Yeah.
Anything else? Excellent. To next month. Anything else from the council? All right, we got a lot of work done. I will see you all tomorrow to wrap up the charter. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, third, fourth. Good night.